about on my show today is I'm going to talk about a history topic of Mr. Bean. So let's start off with the origin story first. The character of Mr. Bean was developed while Rowan Atkinson, so that's the famous actor who played that character he created before and also started as him. So he was studying for his master's degree in electrical engineering at the Queen's College. So it was a time when Rowan Atkinson was getting his master's somewhere in Oxford. A sketch featuring Bean was shown at the Edinburgh Fringe in the early 80s. A similar character called Robert Box, also played by Atkinson, appeared in the one-off 1979 TV sitcom Canned Laughter. So it was a show in the United Kingdom back in 1979, which also featured routines used in the motion picture in 1997. That was actually shown in Bean movie. One of Bean's earliest appearances occurred at the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival in Montreal, Canada in 1987. And it says right here the character's name was not decided until after the first episode had been produced. A number of vegetable influence names such as Mr. Cauliflower was explored. So that's a true story. And now I'm going to talk about the characters. So for Mr. Bean, the title character and main protagonist, played by Rowan Atkinson, and he did an awesome job playing this funny character, is a childish buffoon who brings various unusual schemes and contrivance to everyday tasks. So that's who Mr. Bean is. And now for Irma, that's Mr. Bean's long-suffering girlfriend with glasses. And for Teddy, Teddy is Mr. Bean's teddy bear. That's from the live-action shows and movies. And now, hold on a second. Now I'm going to talk about other characters. For example, although Mr. Bean is the only significant character in the program, others appear usually as foils for his various antics, other than his girlfriend Irma. That's a true story. And Now I'm going to talk about the broadcast. So, Mr. Bean originally aired in the United Kingdom on ITV from 1990 to 1995, with reruns later shown on Comedy Central Extras, ITV3, and ITV4 due to its widespread popularity. The series aired in many other countries. In the United States, it aired on HBO starting on April 2nd, 1992, and also ran on PBS television stations across the United States. And it says another fun fact that Mr. Bean was aired on the Philippine it was on Philippine Television Network, ABS-CBN, in 1992 to 1996 and 2006 to 2014. So it also came from the Philippines too. And hold on a second, and now I'm talking about the awards. The first episode won the Golden Rose as well as two other major prizes at the 1991 Rose Entertainment Festival in Montreal. That's where it was located like 30 years ago. In the United Kingdom, the episode The Curse of Mr. Bean was nominated for a number of BAFTA awards, Best Light Entertainment Program in 1991, Best Comedy, and it says right here in 1991, Anne Atkinson was nominated 3 times for Best Light Entertainment Performance in 1991 and 94. And now I'm going to talk about the animated series. 7 years following the end of the original live-action series, Mr. Bean reappeared in an animated television series with Rowan Atkinson reprising his role as the title character, as well as providing references for all of Bean's animated actions. So yes, I have seen the animated series before. And now I'm going to talk about the feature films. 2 theatrical feature-length films featuring Mr. Bean have been released, with Atkinson reprising his role as the character in each. The first film, Bean, was directed by Mel Smith, released in 1997, and followed the misadventures of Mr. Bean as he oversaw the transfer of Whistler's mother to a Los Angeles art gallery. Art gallery. The film broke from the program's traditional narrative by using a subplot with more developed characters. Rarely Bean was not the sole center of attention, but interacted with a suburban California family that he stays while during the film. The film was commercially successful, grossing more than US 250 million globally, 45 million in the US on a budget estimated $18 million, despite receiving mixed reviews from cities and holding a 41% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And yes, I have watched the 90s film before, and there was also another one, the second film, Mr. Bean's Holiday, released in 2007. So if anyone remembers Mr. Bean's Holiday, where Mr. Bean is from England, but he travels around the world. It says journey across France for a holiday in the French Riviera, to which, after a number of mishaps screening of his video diary of the 2006 Cannes Film Festival, that yes, it is a real film festival that took place in the film Mr. Bean's Holiday. Now back to 97 Bean. So how it's directed by Mel Smith. So Mel Smith and Rowan Atkinson worked together before, but they got to reunite. So one was the director and the other one was an actor. And now let me read the next one. It says, in 2012, Atkinson reprised his character for a live performance as part of the London 2012 Summer Olympics opening ceremony. In the scene, Mr. Bean works within the London. Oh, sorry about that. It says Mr. Bean works within the London Symphony Orchestra and its performance of Chariots of Fire. But I just want to be honest with you, I've never seen Chariots of Fire. That came out back in the 80s, constructed by Simon Rattle. And now I'm going to talk about the books. So 2 books tied in the original live-action series were released. Mr. Bean's Diary in 1992, Mr. Bean's Pocket Diary in 1994. Well, that's like 27 years old now. The 2 books have identical content and differ only in the format in which they are printed. And now I'm talking about other appearances. Rowan Atkinson has appeared in character as being in many television broadcasts. And now for the home media. So yes, there was a lot of VHS tapes that came out back in 2004. And yes, you can look for the VHS tapes of home media depending on what store you find it in. And it could be really rare since the live action show appeared in the 90s. And hold on a second. And now for one last topic of Matsu's DVD re-release, Mr. Bean the Whole Bean was re-released on March 24th, 2015 on DVD digital remastered and coincide with the series' 25th anniversary. And now in popular culture, the article appears to contain travel minor of unrelated references to popular culture. Please recognize this content too. And we don't have to worry about it. So if you look really carefully right here, it says statue of Mr. Bean in Leicester Square, London. So that's where you click for the statue if you ever visit England someday. And I just want to let everyone know is before I go, I want to make this episode for Mr. Bean fans. And yes, I know I'm a big fan of Mr. Bean too, but guess what? It's not just about me. It's like a lot of people are a big fan of the character. And yes, I also have Funko Pops of Mr. Bean too. And that's all for my show today. And make sure to comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. Click like on the bottom below. And before I go, I just want to let everyone know is, will Mr. Bean ever become like a reboot so Rowan Atkinson could reprise his role and take on new adventures? I would say maybe, or again, maybe the actor is just done playing the character. Again, that's in my honest opinion. And don't forget to hit the bell for more notifications. And that's all for my show today. And see you next time.